Hola amigos, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing my Spanish learning review for Antigua Guatemala. I haven't been doing this kind of review for a while. It's not because I give up Spanish, it's just because I have been traveling since mid-April. But in August I went back to Spanish school, so here comes the review. First, I will tell you how I find my school, how the school is like, their class structure and activities, etc. Second, I will talk through what I learned every week and the quality of the teachers. At the end, I will tell you how much I paid as well as some information of homestay. I have the timestamp down below, so just go to the section that you want to watch. In Antigua, there's so many Spanish schools. If you go to Google, you can find a list of them. For me, I just look at those with most reviews and also those with a website. I also read some blog posts and looked at people's experience. Then I shortlisted 2 schools because the tuition was more reasonable. If you have been watching my videos, you know that I don't like to stay in homestay. So after I shortlisted 2 schools, I started to find an Airbnb. Antigua is a relatively expensive place. At the end, I find one Airbnb that is a little north with a reasonable price. Then I finalized to go to the school that only takes 15 minutes walk. Before attending the school, I did send a few emails to communicate with them. They respond very fast, not only my school, but other schools as well. They all had very fast response. People in Antigua speak very good English. There's no way you will have communication problem while asking questions, even though you don't know any Spanish. I went to the school a little early on the first day. I then saw a whole bunch of people were waiting outside of the school. They were all locals. I just felt a little odd, but then I learned that they are just teachers waiting for new students like me. The person in charge first introduced me to my teacher. Then my teacher took me to a very big garden, which took a few minutes walk. Actually, the garden was our real classroom. The place I went earlier was just mainly the office. I wasn't too happy about it because they had never mentioned about the other location before. I was just concerned if I need to walk longer every single day. Fortunately, it only took me 15 to 20 minutes. So now I know I need to ask for the actual classroom location. The garden used to be a coffee farm, so it's very big. It has 2 buildings and a big piece of open area. The good thing is that I can have fresh air all the time. The garden also had a proper shade. The shade is quite important because in August sometimes it's very hot, sometimes it rained a lot in the afternoon. I know some schools only have umbrellas, so good luck. The disadvantage of studying in a garden is that the weather could be very extreme. I felt hot and cold many times during the 4 hours. I also got a lot of mosquito bites. Besides, there was no partition to separate each group. Sometimes it could be very noisy. Also, we don't have a whiteboard, so our teachers only used paper. It's a little messy because at the end of the day I have to organize my notes all over again. The school provides water and coffee in the morning only because there were not too many students in the afternoon. They also had a place for selling snacks during the break time. It was 3 quesadillas each. One-on-one classes are quite popular in Guatemala. You rarely find group classes. You can study from 3 hours a day to 6 or 8 hours a day. In my school, it's common to take the 4-hour class a day, Monday to Friday, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. For my school, after the first 2 hours, we took a half an hour break. It's similar to other schools that I studied before. They took 5 minutes break every hour or 10 to 15 minutes break in every 3 hours. If you have a very short holiday and you want to utilize your time, you better be clear of how long the break time is. My school has free activity Monday to Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and they don't organize any weekend trip. Monday is always the walking tour in Antigua because most of the students start on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday there are different tours or games. Thursday is for movie. Friday they will introduce the local food with tasting so you can have a better understanding of the culture. We can also attend free salsa class Monday and Tuesday at 5 p.m. for 1 hour. It's held in a dance school. On Friday, we can go to San Antonio during the class time with our teacher. It's a place where people show you some cultural stuff and have a light meal there. We needed to pay 100 quetzales for that. I enrolled 20 hours of class per week. It means I study 4 hours a day from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Monday to Friday. First week was basically revision because I haven't been in class for 3.5 months. The teacher helped me to revise the present tense, irregular verbs, and reflexivos. Because it was 4 hours a day, we had a lot of time for conversation and I also had a chance to read a few passages. Second half of the class, we just played games for memorizing vocabularies and numbers. Every week I had a new workbook. It had conjugation and exercise. A lot of time the exercise asked you to translate sentences from English to Spanish and the sentences in English has a lot of mistakes. If you learn a new language, don't you have to think in that language too? Those exercises were not making any sense to me. Second week we studied pretérito. It was not difficult. I just need time to study and digest. My first teacher was okay at the beginning, but she got quite lazy on the second week. From my understanding is that she had a Skype class before and after my class, so she looked very tired and she was not very concentrated while teaching me. So I switched to another teacher. In order to change a new teacher, I needed to go to the office and meet her there. So I had to walk twice that morning, which doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, the second teacher was much better. She is a very cheerful lady. She has a very good and positive energy. She is a bit mature so that we could talk about money and investment. When you are talking to a topic that you like, it's just easier to talk more. I just felt a little terrible when I need to talk about my job, a movie that I watched recently, a singer that I like. I don't even want to talk about those things in my own language because I don't find those interesting. Since I had a not so good experience with the first teacher, so I tried to investigate my second teacher, how many hours she worked every day. Basically, I was her only student and I could see that she was giving a lot of effort on me. On the third week, I learned imperfecto. It was very confusing when to use imperfecto and pretérito. My teacher didn't really give me homework. She was concentrated on conversation. It was not how I learned Spanish. I told her that I need to do exercise and I need to write in order to memorize and then I will be able to pronounce. Without being very clear about imperfecto and imperfecto, we started future tense. It wasn't too difficult, but it was very confusing when I needed to use all the tenses together. I just mixed up with all the conjugations because I didn't have a very good foundation. So I stated myself clear again that I need to have written exercise. Teacher, they all have the exercise book. During class time, my teacher asked me to do exercise from her book verbally. So I didn't really know if I spelled the conjugations right and I couldn't review it. Not sure if she didn't understand me or she was stubborn or she couldn't adjust herself. I still didn't have homework to do till the last day of her class. Then I went to the office, I raised my concern and request to change another teacher again. I wanted to find a teacher who can help me to learn better. The owner was just saying that the first teacher was one of the two teachers who is good at teaching grammar, blah, 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 blah. Well, there were like 40 teachers in the school every day. Now you're telling me that only two teachers can teach good grammar? I was planning to study there for 1.5 months, but with his attitude, like no way, I could not study there anymore. The school is like factories which providing jobs to teacher, but not giving good quality to students in the long run. Earlier in this video, I mentioned that I shortlisted two schools. Both of them are charging $120 for 20 hours per week. That's the lowest price I could find. Some school they are charging $150 or even more. My school doesn't use books, but they give us handout that I mentioned earlier. It's all included in the tuition, and I didn't have to pay a registration fee. Basically, I just emailed them in advance saying that I'm going so that they can prepare a teacher for me. I never pay a deposit, and somehow at the end they charged me $110 a week as like $5.50 per hour. In Mexico, I was paying a little more, but still in a group class. In general, you can pay a cheaper tuition if you choose to study in afternoon, or you come with a friend so that you two can share a teacher. From my experience, the teacher quality in Mexico is better. They teach grammar more properly and they will prepare homework for you. On the other hand, my conversation and listening skills have improved because I have more time to practice. It's all about what you want from the course. For me, I would like to take an international exam, so I want to learn it more properly. If you just want to brush up your conversation, or you just want to have overseas learning experience for a week or two, just find the cheapest school and enjoy the journey. Homestay is popular here. It's around $100 to $120 per week. It depends if you want a private bathroom or a shared bathroom. Also, how many days the host family cooks for you. It's usually 3 meals a day, 5 to 6 days a week. It means that you need to eat outside on the weekend because most likely they don't let you use the kitchen. Homestay is a good choice if you stay for a week or two. It just saves your cooking time and you can learn more about the local culture. The downside is that you might not like the food, and those families may have a few students in their house, so it might be not very quiet. If you take a 4-hour class in the morning and live in a homestay with a shared bathroom, it will be around $210 per week. As I mentioned earlier, you need to eat outside on the weekend. Restaurants in Antigua tend to be a little pricey, so I would say prepare $30 a day for eating out. So if your host family doesn't have a washing machine, you need to bring your clothes to wash outside. It's around 6 quetzales per pound. So if you send 10 pounds a week, that's like $8. In total, you might need $992 a month for basic living. If you want to do some tours, you need to add a budget on top of that. And even though you have 3 meals a day, you might want to hang out with other students for a drink. Drinks are starting from $2.20 to $4.50. So that's another $100 a month. Antigua is 1 hour away from the city airport. My school charges $40 for pickup. I took an Uber for $32 because there was a serious traffic jam. Normally it should be around $23. If you can catch a shuttle, it's $10. For a round trip, do prepare $20 to $80. In total, I would say prepare $1,200 for a month. Please comment down below where I can learn Spanish better and cheaper. If you find this video helpful, remember to like and share, and also subscribe to my channel. Until next time, bye!